Abraham, there's something I don't understand. It's about emotions. We were talking before. I heard you talking about death and the transition and the wonderful about death. What I don't understand is the emotion of sorrow, the profound sorrow that a mother or father can have when his son is killed.
What is it about it that you don't understand?
There are people that are devastating when their children or relatives are killed and they last years in this sorrow. This is a big contrast between the one that has the transition, go to the other world, and it's good, but the relatives stay here in a tremendous sorrow.
Well, anytime any of you focus upon the absence of something you want, you're going to feel a negative emotion that is proportionate to the degree to which you want something. So what you're saying is, when someone dies and they reemerge into pure positive energy, into that high, good feeling place, your question is, why does someone who is still physically focused, why are they not able to recover from that?
Yes, there are a lot of people that don't know that this person make the transition, and there are people that stay here in very, very deep sorrow.
Well, anytime you're focusing upon the absence of something you want, you are going to activate within yourself a vibration that's different from the vibration of what you want. And so what has happened here, this is a very good opportunity to talk about vibration and the way your source is responding. So a mother or a father, anyone that you love, as you focus upon them and you interact with them and you adore them and they are in your experience, in other words, the lack of them is not there, but the presence of them is there, you can see that there could be a vibrational alignment between what you're wanting and what you're giving your attention to. But when they have what you call the death experience and they reemerge into non-physical, and now they are no longer physically focused to play with you, and now instead of focusing upon who they now are and the full energy that they are, instead you focus upon the absence of them. As you focus upon the absence of something that you want, the vibration are contradictory. And what we want you to hear from us, and we know you can hear it easily, is that that's what your emotional guidance system is. In other words, you just can't look at the absence of something that you want without feeling bad. And so most people would say, well, Abraham, then I'm in a situation where I cannot win. That's what so many of these grieving parents feel. They feel that they cannot ever bring themselves out of it because what they want is their son back or their daughter back, and they know that that cannot be, and so they are lost in that crack between wanting something that they know they cannot have, and the more they focus upon the absence of it, then the worse they feel. Time often helps, but they could receive immediate relief by making an effort to move up the emotional scale and by acknowledging that there is no such thing as death, that no one ever ceases to be, and that the vibration of this person that is now missing from their life is still an active vibration that they do have access to, but they've got to get on the same vibrational wavelength in order to have access to it. We see so many people who have experienced the death of someone they love, and they are in that serious grief situation. And then something will happen to distract them, and so they will not be vibrating in that vibration that is disallowing the fullness of who they are for a moment. Something has distracted them from it, and then they are on the vibrational wavelengths with this person who is very much aware. In other words, when someone you love makes their transition into non-physical, they have full and active view of you, and they are often offering blocks of thought. They are looking for every way they can to interact with you in some meaningful way. But for most physical humans who are in their grieving state, all of that bounces off of them. They can't rendezvous with meaningful things because they've got their radio dial set on 6:30 a.m. while the other frequencies on 98.7 FM, and there's just not a matchup of frequencies. So the key is to do your best to get feeling as good as you can, as fast as you can. We would recommend distraction, focusing on other things that don't hurt quite so much in the beginning. And we have to tell you that we don't know anyone who truly solves this issue of grief, who does not understand that you are eternal beings. once you get it that you are eternal, and once you get it that there is no distance between you and your dearly departed, because they have not departed that far. They are an active vibration that you have access to, and you can train yourself into clear reception of them. Esther has discovered with people that she adores who have made their transition, she actually has a better relationship with most of them now than she did when they were alive, because now they are in a place of pure positive energy. And if she is to have any relationship with them at all, she has to get into that place of non-resistance, and then she can receive them fully. She finds them delightful. She finds them brilliant. She finds them with perfect timing. She finds them willing to play humorously with her in her experience. Everything is about vibration. But it is easy for one who is not grieving to say, well, you've got to stop your grieving if you want to interact with those that you love who are in the non-physical, because it's hard for them to hear that. But in time, they will be distracted from it enough, and it gets easier and easier and easier. If they're listening to you at all, then give them the information that you've come to know. Tell them that this person that they love is now in a place of pure positive energy and is fully aware of them. And tell them that they can have a chat with them anytime they want, but they've got to learn to listen. And tell them that there's no trick to listening once you get on the frequency. So many people say, oh, I can't hear, I can't do what Esther does. And we say, it isn't that you can't hear, you're just not on the frequency. When you get on the frequency, you'll hear.
Are we able to listen anyone who's been died?
Anyone. When you focus and activate the vibration of who they are summoned immediately. And if you are in vibrational sync with them, you can have a dialogue with them. But here's the thing that you must understand. When you knew them when they were alive, you probably knew them in the fullness of their personality. So if they were ornery, if they were irritated, if they were overworked and frustrated, if they were fearful, if they were lonely, if they were that kind of vibration, and that's the personality that you knew, that's the mood or attitude that you knew them to be, and now they're in a place of pure positive energy, when you recall them and your vibration is about their orneriness, that's not who they are now. When you reemerge into non-physical, you leave behind all doubt and fear and worry, and you become this pure positive essence being, you see. So the trick, it's not a trick. The key, it is a key. The rule that is a rule, the law that is a law, is that you must be on the same vibrational wavelength. So you can't remember them as your ornery friend or as your insecure friend. You've got to readjust your thinking to now begin to see them as they really are. Your friend, no matter who he was or what he was living, now he is in non-physical, is confident and secure and eager and passionate about life and filled with love. And if you knew him in any other way and you're now trying to access that, you cannot find him. Now you could find the thought forms that he left behind. When you are physically focused and you are looking out through your physical eyes, you establish a very strong vibrational trail or pattern. And as people hold you as their object of attention, now there's a very strong energy swirling around that which you are. And that energy swirls long after you are no longer in your physical body, although it does begin to dissipate almost immediately as you are no longer looking out through your eyes, and those who are accustomed to looking at you are no longer looking at you. But someone who is famous, for example, the thought forms that surround them linger long after their death, sometimes decades or centuries after their death, because of the attention of the mass consciousness upon same. So the point that we are wanting to make to you is that as you begin to receive someone who you know has made their transition into non-physical, as you begin to receive them, and what you're receiving is a joyful message, know that you've adjusted your vibration and you are hearing them from their now vantage point. If you're getting tips about ornery things, if they're warning you about things, or if it's the same old dialogue that you remember, then you're not picking up on them from where they now are. You're picking up on who they once were and the thought forms that spin there. You have to understand that every thought that has ever been thought still exists. The thoughts do not cease to be. The thoughts are creations also. And law of attraction amasses the thoughts of similar vibration. So it's possible to tap into an energy stream. We don't want you to worry about these energy streams or these pools of thoughts or these thought forms, but do be aware that it is important for you to keep your vibration in the place of that which you are wanting to receive.
And how can we make sure that we're talking to a father or mother or son, which is so different from when he was here?
As you do it more, your sense of it becomes stronger. When Esther's father made his transition, at first, Esther's sadness kept her from being able to hear him at all. And then she remembered what she's learned from us, and she brought herself more and more into vibrational alignment with who she is and with us. And then, usually laying in her bed at night, when she was not interfering with anything that she and Jerry were doing together or any of her other activities, she would turn her thoughts toward her father, and she would begin to receive a steady stream of him. And at first, it was a little awkward for her. She was not quite sure she was getting her father, because it didn't, as you guessed, it didn't exactly sound like him. It was a little more positive than he usually was, and it was a little more optimistic than he usually was. It was a little more emphatic than he usually was, and it was much more available to her than he usually was. And so she chatted with him for several hours, for several nights in a row. And then she said, "Abraham, how do I know I'm getting my father and not you pretending to be my father just to make me feel better?" And we said, "Esther, you know your father. You can feel his personality traits. Relax in this, and you will rediscover your father from his new vantage point." And sure enough, she would be in the middle of something, and she would hear him chime in just in the way that was natural for him. In other words, the best of him is what she now has access to. And it is oh so familiar, because the best of him was present in her relationship with him too, you see. It is an adjustment for you. You have to retrain yourself to the best of who they now are. And you might know someone like Esther, or someone who has been working for a while, working to clean up her vibration, who is for the most part playful and having a good time. And when she makes her transition and you were to tap into that which is her, you probably wouldn't even notice a difference. It would be the same playful girl that you'd been accustomed to. But if you have some Henri Toad for a friend and they make their transition in a non-physical, you'll hardly recognize them at first. That's why we encourage you to get your relationships cleaned up before you croak.
Thank you. Thank you, Abraham. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.